hasn't changed, bro.
I said, that guy, he doesn't age, man. He's like a vampire, man. That guy doesn't grow young. He just stays the same age. It's like, those pictures you take, he just stays like that.
He just stays the same, yeah.
Soxy, man, you don't age,
The
man.
only thing that changes for him is the wardrobe.
That's the only thing. And the guy is still the same thing. He hasn't gained weight. He hasn't lost weight. He's just the same guy, man.
Yeah, man.
And he was looking sharp, man.
He had a really nice podcast with him.
Yeah.
And it was the first one. So he set the bar way up there, man, because I guess we've been boys for such a long time.
Yeah.
We've done life together. We've lived in the same hood, same compound. I mean, we've gone through our relationships and stuff. So
I remember Soxy meeting him in Uhuru.
Yeah.
Because that's where he used to stay.
Yeah.
And those days I used to stay in Buru.
Yes.
And,
oh, man.
And that time he was, he was thinner than what he had. If Soxy was thin then, at that time he was even, he was so thin, man. And, just who he has become.
Yeah.
And just seeing his kids. And he's a wonderful father, man.
He's an intentional dad.
He's a wonderful father, man.
So one of the conversations that came out was about how, so he has a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
Warimbo came first, and then Ethan. So he's talking about how when he was training Ethan, how to, this is how you go pee in a big boy's toilet.
Yeah.
And how Ethan used that.
I can see where this is coming. Yes, this is going. Yeah.
So he was like, okay, this is what you do when you go to the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
So he calls the wee with choo-choo.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you move your choo-choo and you pee.
Yeah.
In the toilet. So guests came to his house, and out of the blue, man, Ethan says, "My daddy has a big choo-choo."
So as a Jama, you don't have to be proud of this or to just shine. The dumbest thing kids say.
Oh man, kids. And now the guys are like, okay, do we compare it with Ethan? But he's a very intentional dad. So I put up the clip on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
And I hadn't gone back to check on it.
Yeah.
So 2 days ago,
yeah,
I went on the Facebook page and I was like, let me just
check.
Let me just go through my posts and see what the response is. Where I got on that one, there were like 200 and something thousand views.
Wow. Wow.
And the comments, like over 600.
Yeah.
It's a whole debate. It's a whole debate, man. And women now.
Yeah.
Like ladies, even single mothers coming in and saying, no, this is not right. Oh, Soxy's a modern day dad.
Excuse me.
It's okay. I'm not even finished going through them. But
yeah.
Anyway, I had a really good podcast with you, man. Oh, that looks good, man. You almost want to make me change. Yeah. I'm okay. We're good. That's what's up, man. We've got to learn sign language, man.
We have to learn sign.
A big shout out to Palette Cafe. That's where we're doing this podcast from. So
yeah.
But dude, thanks for coming, man.
Yeah. I've been looking forward to this, man.
Dude.
Since we last chatted on the phone, and you come, I was like, yeah, we gotta do this, man.
We gotta do this,
yes,
man.
Yeah.
You hear that engine?
Yeah.
That's a serious motorbike, man. Hey, man. Our sound engineer, Steve, he's envious.
He's envious of that
Just
motorbike.
Look at him, man.
He's not even looking here.
His wife could be here talking to him and he wouldn't even hear it.
He's just looking at that motorbike.
Yeah. He's
salivating.
He's lost, man. He's lost in it.
Yes.
But dude, it's been good, man. Now, and you and I have been boys for a long time.
Yeah.
You are... How do I say this without sounding bad?
Without sounding bad?
You were my first boy, male friend, as a believer.
I was?
Yeah.
You've never told me that.
Now you know, man. You were my first Jama friend.
I was your first.
That
Now I understand what you're saying. It doesn't say it sounds bad.
It just-
Okay.
You were my first. Yeah.
I didn't know that, man.
Yeah, because you know my background, man. I came from the for lack of a
Friday night.
yes, man. It's Friday. That was my life, man. It was party all night. And so so when I became a Christian, none of my boys were Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And none of my girls were Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And so it took me a while to get into the space for the church.
Yeah.
And when I met you, it was just before the
Before we turned into the new millennium.
millennium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we entered the 2000s.
Yeah, and I remember you walked in. Everyone. So I'd go for this meeting. You know, first I'm a sick. I've just come from the clubs, and I'm like, okay, now I'm a gospel DJ, even though I don't have much gospel music.
Gospel DJ, man.
Yeah. And so, so I came to learn that there was a big party that was being organized by Christians for ushering in the new millennium.
Yeah.
I don't even know how I came across that information. And so I tried to find out where the guys meeting who were planning for this thing. I was told they're meeting at Nairobi Baptist. So I made my way to Nairobi Baptist one evening, and so I met the committee sitting down. There was a lady called Sarah Oyungu.
Sarah Oyungu.
Yes, there was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sarah Nyo.
That's it. There was she was I think she was the chair lady or something.
Mm-hmm.
But there was this committee that was sitting. I remember Sarah because she was there and she was the one. She was the Dawn. And so I went and I said, you guys don't know me, but my name is DJ Mose. I just recently became a Christian and I'm a DJ, and I'd like to DJ for you guys for your New Year's Eve concert. I think she was very confused first. She couldn't put the two together.
I'd never heard of such a thing. You know,
Yeah.
it sounds like an oxymoron, man.
Completely.
Yeah, gospel DJ. What's
The two do not go together, man.
Yeah.
And so she gladly welcomed me in, and she's like, I can't make a decision on this. There's a guy that they needed to have there, Charles Nganga.
Yes.
What is Charles's responsibility? Was he the chairman?
I know Charles there. I think he was the he was the guy who was like the overall guy on that particular thing,
Yes.
putting that event together.
Yeah.
And that time he had just finished his learning at seminary.
Okay.
So he was at Nairobi
At
Baptist
Nairobi
Church.
Baptist, yeah.
So because there was neither here neither there of what he was supposed to do, he was given that project to be able to do. That was Nairobi Baptist's contribution to that. Give this guy, he has the capacity full time to be able to do it. Now he's bishop.
Here you
He's
guys.
Bishop
He's
Charles
planted a
Nganga.
couple of churches,
Yeah,
Bana.
Bishop
Charles Nganga.
Yes.
So, but in this meeting, that first day that I went, and then they invited me for a subsequent meeting because now they wanted to follow up and see when out Pastor Charles was there. So they kept talking about Gowi. I just kept hearing Gowi. I'm like, man, who is this Nigerian dude called Gowi? I can't wait to meet him. And then you walked in now you came back from the States.
Yeah.
You walked in, guys, I was so happy to see you, man. You're
Yeah.
the life of the party is here, Bana. And we've been boys since.
I don't know. I can't. You know what? I don't remember that. I've heard you tell this story before.
Yeah.
But I actually don't remember that day. What I remember is right around Christmas.
Before the New Year's.
Before the New Year's.
Yeah.
We were at a restaurant. It was Java. Hapo Adams.
Hapo Adam, yeah.
You and I sat down. I don't know if you remember that.
Now
it was
trying
lunch.
to recall, yeah.
And I paid.
Umepeleka boy wakangemi Java, man.
So I remember we were there, and for some reason,
Yeah.
we hit it off from that particular. It was a subsequent thing.
Yeah.
About that, and we'll be able to talk. And I told my brother that same. I met this guy. He said, yeah. I met that guy. He says I introduced him to Sarah. No, Pete is the one who had.
Oh, I don't.
Pete is the one who
Introduced
Pete and
me-
Sarah are the guys who brought you guys, who actually got you on that stage.
Oh, bro. Thank you, Pete.
Yeah. Thanks, Pete. But I told him, dude, have you met this guy? And he's like, yeah. I've met this guy before. He's like, in fact, you should get to meet this guy. And that's where we hit it off, bro.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, that particular day, I remember Sarah saying, okay? I remember Sarah saying, I'll never forget. I remember Sarah saying, give him between 11:30. Okay, so this is what happens for guys who don't know.
Even I do not know this.
Guys don't know about what happens backstage in production. Give him the peak time.
What?
Yeah, give him the peak time. So they were going to have other things going on, and they were going to have a message, a sermon, or something like that. So we brought the sermon was brought earlier. Okay, so around 11, the thing is, so we made sure that the sermon was done. Now, because there was going to be something that was going to happen right after that, okay, it didn't happen because you were going to come out after midnight.
Yeah.
All right. So there was a lot of silence, but you were already set up.
I was on stage anyway.
Yes, you were already set up.
Yeah.
Okay, because we're going to wait up for silence. So said, just let him play. Do you remember the first song you played?
No.
Do you remember the first?
No.
Okay. You just started to. I kid you not, it was Stomp. It was Stomp.
Oh, man.
But, dude, I want to say this, and I think my brother can agree with me on this one. Because he was up on stage after the fireworks. He was the first, the first act. Yeah?
It was Pete.
That was at that time.
Yeah.
That was the most defining moment, okay, in contemporary gospel music. That particular time. That's how I do it. That moment, it changed the way contemporary, all that Pete Hart music were working for.
Wow.
You know the way they took, they took gospel music out of the church onto the streets.
Yes.
I don't think you recognize that at that moment, that 1 hour, those 30, 45 minutes changed because you mixed, I think it was Jackie Velasquez.
Yes, I just got in those CDs now.
Okay?
Yeah.
Just those
Revolution.
two. And dude, Pete gave you that music.
I collected music from Pete.
Yes.
From Oscar.
Yes. And from David Courier.
Courier had given Oscar his music.
Yes.
And I think I'd bought maybe a few CDs from TuneIn. But
dude,
yeah.
That day, it just changed. The way you mixed. Bro. We have never listened to gospel music the way it did. And then you started playing local musicians.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You just, I don't know if you knew it. It just changed. So you know the way people want to be played on radio?
Yeah.
Most can play it.
Those local musicians almost got me fired from a show I used to do for free.
Yes. So you just did that. And then from there on, I mean, God bless him. You know, Leo Slingerland was the person who just gave us the platform there on after. The Lord bless Leo Slingerland for that. He came and said what he saw, we had never seen. And he gave us a platform. And for that time that we had at Family Media that time, Radio 316, changed the way we'd be able to do it, bro.
That's where Kubamba started, bro.
That's where Kubamba. And I remember you inviting me to your house in
Kangemi.
In Kangemi.
Gishagi.
After New Year's.
I remember, man.
And you told me, Gowi, what do we do now that we've done this? And Leo has done this. I said, you come and preach. It's like, God, I've been given an hour. I was like, okay. Remember that day?
Yeah.
So I was in your house. I was like, what do we do? I'm like, yeah, you preach. The same messages you preach. Mose, you don't understand, bro, what that did for me also. Because it made me, in as much as a youth pastor at that time, it made me now begin to abbreviate my message. Remember we used to say, what can you say in 7 minutes?
Yes.
Because radio forced me to make it. What can you say in 7 minutes?
This sermon that you have for an hour?
Yes.
Compress
it into 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And speak to that 13, 14-year-old.
Yeah.
With the passion that you can be able to say. What you can say in 40, 45 minutes, do it in 7 minutes. Bro, it even changed the way I preach.
What?
Yeah.
That's so good to hear, man.
Yeah.
That's so good to hear. You know, I remember that one of the things I have valued about you and I being boys is the fact that first, even just apart from the faith, you know, going to the scriptures, but it's being able to do life together, being in the trenches, being able to see each other, you know, get into jobs and get fired from jobs.
I remember when we were fired from Family Media. That That was so random.
Bro, I walked in one time. The show was like number 3 in the country, man.
Yeah.
And at the end of that month, I walked in and I was given a letter.
They're like,
I was
it's
told,
done.
man, it's been real.
Yeah. I remember that.
I'd even see you later, man.
I was like, it felt so walk. But bro, it started something. Remember what we started telling guys, like, if you want us to come to your high school,
Yeah.
just write to us.
Yeah.
What was that PO box that we used to do? Do you remember?
45196.
45196
Yes.
Nairobi.
Yes.
All right. And we used to send Jugush to go and check that mailbox every day. There was one time
45196.
Jugush came with around 20 envelopes from different schools.
Yeah.
On the same day, because he hadn't checked it for like almost a week.
Yeah.
And I was like, a movement has started, bro. So yeah, thank you.
No.
Thank you, bro.
I'm really glad, man. And let me give you your flowers, in fact, early as we were starting the podcast, man. I think for me, my life. Like I say, you were my first Jama friend in the gospel circle, which meant a lot because apart from you, there was CK and Babs. And there's certain conversations I could have with them, but the other conversations I could not have with them. As Jamas, you're coming to a space where you've grown and you're becoming kind of a big deal.
You guys, you need to have CK on this podcast. Eh?
I do need to have CK.
You did know. I mean, that lady has gone through.
And she's a mover and shaker right now.
Mover and shaker. I mean, it's quiet. It says still waters.
They run deep. Yeah.
I mean, if you talk to her, man,
I will. I definitely
that
will.
short is deep, man. You need to have her on this podcast.
I need to have.
Shout out to you. Shout out to you, CK. I know I owe you a lunch, but yeah, in due time. But yeah,
CK, and in fact, CK was the first person I really started bonding with.
Yeah.
From the chick's perspective. But you have been. Some of my most profound lessons in life have come from our conversations. You have. You helped me think outside the box. You made sure that I did not conform to the norm. God used you in a mighty way to be able to affirm me. Those my rides, even you just coming with me and going to Kangemi, Gishagi, man, hang out in a space like that. For someone who's not been in the church circles and who could not understand the church folks, you helped me start appreciating this space. I had, you're the ones, you are that one person who I could say, this is a safe space for me. I can be real.
There was a time I was doing an audit on, because I do this a lot, audit on my phone.
Yeah.
Who do I call the most? And there was a time I saw there was not, it's like 2 days did not pass without me calling you.
Dude,
I was like, dude, man, is this like my shorty or something? There's
a time you were sending Jennifer a message and you sent it to me.
I sent to you.
I was like, and this was like at 1 o'clock in the morning after Kubamba. I was like, dude, are you supposed to send me this message? It's supposed to go to you.
Yeah.
To your shorty. Because you weren't married at that time.
No. But I was looking at that, I was like, man, this is, you're right. You are not just, the way I look at discipleship and I said, dude, if there were people who I had a discipleship relationship with, yours was one of the most enriching for me. To the point that there are days I sit at your feet now and learn.
Hey, bro. How does a father sit at the feet of the son, man?
I remember people like you, I've sat down and seen people like Thimba. I sit down and just watch his adulam.
Yeah.
Post, and I'm looking at him like, dang, I remember when this guy gave his life to Christ.
Yeah.
And now I'm sitting at his feet learning truths of the gospel from this guy. But I've had the privilege of speaking into this guy's life. And scripture, now that given, it will come back to you.
Yeah.
good measure, pressed down, shaken together. Makes more sense. It was never about money, bro.
No.
It was about reconciliation.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I've had the privilege of seeing you being reconciled to God.
Yeah, man.
And seeing the fruit of it in many ways.
Bro.
I think the thing that I've also enjoyed about is just seeing you go through your seasons in life. You know, how your dating started with Debs.
Yeah.
You know,
you've seen me with all my girlfriends, bro.
All your girlfriends. Oh, by the way, do you know you're the one who made Jennifer and
I know.
meet?
I know. When you moved to Nairobi Chapel.
It wasn't even moved. I don't know if you reckon. It was well before I moved to Chapel. Okay? I remember this. And remember Sophie? Sophie, that time she was in all over. And you guys had a concert or dance thing.
At KCC?
No, this was at Ufungamano House. And it was being held by Vibrant Souls.
Yes.
So Vibrant Souls had brought
that's dance
all these
group.
people.
Yeah.
It was what was that thing called? Dance Groove or something of that sort.
I do remember, yeah.
Okay. So Vibrant Souls was there. And who was the leader of Vibrant Souls?
Jennifer.
It was Jennifer.
Yeah.
All right. So you came, you knew her. And at that time, Kev Muley was there. And I think you were the DJ, but Kev was also there.
Yeah.
I remember. But I remember we were on the foyer, and you introduced Kev. I mean, you and Kev were there, but you introduced me to Jennifer, and Sophie was also there. And Sophie just was starting to look at this. And I don't know what Sophie was thinking, but you know what a young person is thinking at that time. You know, what is this that could happen? And I knew her from the all over circle.
Yeah.
All right? And I don't know, but little did I know that, 6 years later, this would be my wife.
I can tell, what I didn't tell you, Gowi, was when you formally moved to Chapel, Nairobi Chapel, and you became the youth pastor.
Yeah. Oh, but like maybe a year or two after that. Yeah.
I had no doubt in my mind that Jennifer was going to be your wife.
Now you tell me.
Now I tell you, man. I had no... In fact, I should have told you, don't waste time, bro.
Wow.
I had no doubt in my mind that Jay was going to be your wife.
And I remember at that time I was in another relationship.
Yeah.
That did not work out.
Yeah. It's those days when we were like, I don't think you were being a jinga. You're just doing life.
I was doing life.
You're just living life, man.
Wow.
But I remember, man, and I should have told you. Man. But
it's all right,
man. Amesema mazee God amenipatia dream ndio atakuwa wife ya.
But when I look back, Mose, I think there's been an evolution for me since those days. And 2 or 3 things have changed for me. One is I've reached a point where I now really don't care what people think about me. And I wished I had known this 20 years, 25 years ago. Man, you're so concerned what others would think. But I've also recognized that holding a position of leadership, there's responsibility, especially when you are in an institution. Because you represent something about them.
Yeah.
But right now, bro, I've reached a point where I've said, I need to be able to be unapologetic of who I have become and what I have. And so it's been just a freeing moment for me in many ways. So sometimes I've felt that I've missed opportunities because I've been more concerned about how I will be perceived or the institution or who I represent.
Yes.
In that particular.
Are you going to have misrepresented
them in all that? And I'm like, you know what? I don't court controversy for the sake of it. I just think controversy just follows.
It just follows you. No, it's right there next to you.
It's right next there to me, So, and it's who I think I am. There are many unconventional things that I have attempted to do.
But you've never been you've never shied away from any of those things. So I'm actually surprised that you say that.
Yeah, but you know, I did it. I was very scared. I'll be honest with you. I was scared about dabbling into the controversial areas of life, of ministry. But now there's a certain confidence about venturing into where no man has treaded before. And those times, right now, I think the resources that I have got, and I'm not necessarily talking about financial resources, but all the things, it just seems that things are beginning to align. There's a perfect storm that's beginning to happen. And the things that I've really wanted to do, which are still, edgy, need to be done.
But you need to do it now.
Need to be done.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I want to say right now is, and I said this on my own podcast, is I don't like the label Christian. I don't like being called a Christian.
Why?
In fact, if I were to write, there are two things I want to write, If I was to write a memoir, and I said this on that podcast, I'm okay to plug in my own podcast.
Bro.
Kahawa Gowi.
Yeah,
just check it out, right?
It, bro.
I said, if I was to write a memoir, it would be Confessions of a Modern Day Pharisee.
Let's dive into it. Let's talk more about it.
One of the things I've done is big church. The more I've seen, I've been a pastor for almost 25 years.
Yeah.
25 years.
I was actually surprised when you took on your first job as a youth pastor at Nairobi.
You were surprised, eh?
At Nairobi Chapel. But I also do remember those days life was hard.
Life was
you
hard.
had gone through a few without a job. But anyway, you've done church for a while.
I've done church for a while.
Yeah.
And I've looked at it and I've seen, you know what? Where we're going as a church, there are a couple of things that are happening.
Yeah.
The models that we have for church actually are ceasing to impact this emerging generation. And it's seen because, and it's not from the urban areas, it's in shags. So I go to my shags out there, Usenge Beach, Siungu Beach, Honge Beach. There are 3 different beaches, by the Lake Victoria. But I went to my local church out in Gotagulu village, West Yimbo location. And I went to this church, I sit down in this thing, and there are no men between the age of 20 to 35. There are no men.
They're not going to church.
They're not there. You could see women, but the other men there are men my age and older, in fact, older than me. Dude, I'm 51 years old.
Yeah.
But there are people who are older and they're there. And most of these guys who are there, some are retirees. These are guys who are living in the urban area, then they've come back and they're now plugging into the local church there. And where are these young men? And so this is some of the things that I've said. If this is what is happening, then what's happening in the urban areas? And the urban areas, it is there. We're just in denial, bro. We're just in denial of where it is. So one of the mistakes, or one of the things that has happened is the gospel is being presented and it's being presented for the woman. There's a femininity about the gospel. It is not addressing masculinity. We're not hearing the gospel addressing our issues as men.
You're hearing addressing issues for women.
It addresses a lot about it. The church,
for example,
the church makes sense for women. That's why there are many women in church. Your average church has 60, 70%. All right? You asked, why are they not men in the church? And why are they not younger men in the church? All right? It's because we have not been able to address it. And let me even give you a critique.
Yeah.
Look at our hymnology. All right? Look at all the things. The music that we hear, that's hymnology. Hold me, no, nishikilie.
Kambu.
Nishikilie. Those are the things.
Yeah.
Just look at it. It's about a nurturing thing about who God is and all that. I'm not saying that's bad, but those are the things Okay? How you love me, you hold me, Lord, you all that stuff. That is fine.
You care for
it
me.
doesn't resonate with our masculinity. It doesn't.
That's very interesting.
Yet, in our masculinity needs to be addressed. The gospel does speak to that. Look at how Jesus is portrayed in the church. He is not portrayed as a warrior. He's not portrayed as the things that resonate with you and I. Dude, you're a Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
We're always doing, when we go to church, I mean, that's told to tone down.
Yeah.
I don't know what you, I don't know if you hear what I'm saying.
Actually, I'd never thought about it until now that you mentioned about how the femininity of the...
There's an emasculation of the gospel. I said it. There we go. I said it. All right?
Wow.
So they can come.
Yeah.
They can come now. But there has been.
Yeah.
So here you are. You're a gladiator of a person. You've conquered all that, but the gospel is not addressing that particular.
So you say the men are probably not relating with what's happening.
No, yet the gospel does that. So we are gladiators in pink.
I wear pink, man.
No, but that's just
Okay.
it's a figure of speech.
Okay.
Man.
Just checking.
Oh, a gladiator with a bow in the head, okay? So that's one of the things.
Yeah.
The other thing is big church. That the bigger the thing is,
The better.
not just the better, you probably are doing something right.
Yeah.
Because you have many people coming to church, you're probably doing something right. But what is the discipleship path for people?
Yeah.
I shared this with my team. And we've said this also within our church, in our different meetings at Nairobi Chapel. But I've shared this with my team. If I put different logos of vehicles, you have Mercedes-Benz, Subaru, you have Mazda and all that, and you put them up. When you put those logos up, the first thing that comes to mind is cars, right? And if I put, let me put this, Huawei, iPhone, Apple, I put Samsung, you think?
Yeah. Mobile phone, yeah.
All right. But when I put Sitam, I put Nairobi Baptist Church, when I put ACK, what do you see?
One mega church?
You see church. But dude, that's not what we are about. When we see those labels, we should be thinking disciples of Jesus Christ.
Wow.
And if you look at our growth path, our path to getting people aligned or assimilated in the church, it's about you getting assimilated in the church, but not necessarily becoming a disciple of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us, and we look up, and we want to ape. We ape the big churches, not just the West. Now we're aping what's going on from the western part of the continent.
Yeah.
So we're seeing our brothers in Nigeria, we're seeing our brothers in Ghana, we're seeing their success, and we want to ape what they're doing. But we're saying, are we producing disciples? I remember this in my earlier years as a minister, and I remember this is Pastor B. Muriel said this. She used this acronym that I have continued to say. If we want to see somebody grow, and the actual disciple, there's no full definition of what a disciple is, but what works for us, and she was saying about children, at that time she was a children's pastor, they need to have a firm foundation in their walk with the Lord. A firm foundation is that there's a grasp of who they are in Christ, that the gospel has really found a root. But they have an active devotional life. Okay? Those spiritual disciplines are a part of them.
Yeah.
That they are involved in the community of faith. All right? But then there's an evidence of transformation. There's growth. This person has moved from stage 1 to 2, and they're bearing fruit. And then they have a heart for the nations.
That's faith.
That's faith. That's the acronym faith in itself. And I was like, yeah, that's a good one. And that's what I've been able to use ever since. It's a simple thing.
Yeah.
But we are more happy when we have many people coming in church and serving in church.
Yeah.
But are they disciples of Jesus Christ?
It's interesting that you said about not not modern day Pharisee. What did you say about?
Confessions of a Modern Day Pharisee.
That's it.
We have done things. There are things that I've done wrong, and one
Yeah.
of the things I've done wrong is served big church, and that thing
Or feeding into
feeding
it.
into the church,
Yeah.
but not necessarily seeing disciples.
Well, as I was talking to, so anytime I get an opportunity to speak in a gathering of where maybe the church leaders, or in a space where I know that there are people who are involved in that space, one of the things I keep telling them is we need to know that the current model or how we are doing church today will not serve this current generation that we're reaching out to.
It wouldn't.
We can't continue building. I mean, think about it. So our job is, us guys, involved in the lives of young people. And when we talk to the young people, they're craving for things like relationship. They want a place to belong where we can do life together. Unfortunately, we are not there as a church in their spaces. Yes, Kubamba is, we are part of the church. But we're not, like as a bigger church community, we're not involved in their spaces. We're busy building massive buildings, saying that, yeah, this is what we want to do. And you're putting up structures worth like, almost
Millions of dollars,
hundreds,
$1 million.
hundreds,
Millions of
yes.
dollars, yes.
And what I'm saying is these buildings are going to be empty in the next few.
15 years, they're going to be empty.
Because how we're building church, how we're developing church is not welcoming. We're putting up these structures and we're saying, come to me. But when I look at the life of Jesus Christ, it was always where the people were. Always where the people were, interacting with them and doing life with them. But now we put up these massive structures and we even make it more difficult for people to access our spaces because we say in the name of security to make a fence. For me, every time I see a fence, what does that do to me? It does not welcome me into that space. There's no one if you go to someone's place alafu cheki kuna fence haikwambii karibu. But now our churches tumetengeneza mazizi kuna fence alafu kuna guards kwa gate unakuja kufanya nini hapa?
Do you know something as a strategy I've seen? Quick mart. I've learned something from them. Where there's a quick mart, have you seen a fence?
No. Oh, bro. Kwanza they're in the heart of the community now.
So they're saying they're not, and this is me. I have never had this, but this is just an observation. I think you're onto something, bro. Because other supermarkets in the city or around the country, you enter a place where it's parked, it's a metered place for those who drive in.
Yeah.
There are those mass security things and all that. But for Quick Mart, it's easy access.
Yeah.
Okay?
Kwanza, it's open.
You understand?
Yeah.
So Quick Mart has understood what is inviting. Even in our architecture of the church, I think we need to be able to look what has an organization like Quick Mart deciphered about shopping for people. But let me go on. Let me not digress. I said there were 3 things.
Yeah, sorry.
All right? The third thing that I've come is where I say I'm a modern day Pharisee. That's my confession. Is that, bro, discipleship is about relationships. It's not about, you know what? It's not about churning out numbers.
Yeah.
So Mose, I've sat down, I've known you for over 20 years now.
Yeah.
And I can celebrate who God has become in your life. And I think for me, there's a point where I lost that. Where it was about getting people to get to church, believe in Jesus Christ, but becoming, and growing and all that. That process, it was more now as churning out as opposed to growing.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it happened when I moved out from being our global ministry and I went back to church planting. That just changed it. And I said, I think we can begin to unlock what the church can do differently.
Yeah.
When we are doing, I'm not advocating here for small church. Hey, there's a place for big church. But the things that I'm beginning to see in our church planting journey, the things I'm beginning to hear from small churches, that's where I'm beginning to see impact and fruit.
Yeah.
Because community is happening there, discipleship is happening there, intentionality is happening there.
You know each other.
And it's not that you know each other, you actually have a conducive environment to do life together and impact a context in itself. It's Mother Teresa who said this: you impact one life, one child at a time. This is a woman who was working in Calcutta with millions of people.
Yeah.
And she's like telling people, one child at a time. I'm like, Mother Teresa, there are over 1 million kids at any time on the streets of Calcutta.
Yeah.
But she's saying one child at a time. Look at how she's even celebrated years on after she's passed on. And so part of my confession as a modern day Pharisee is trying to undo what we have done.
Yeah.
Now, there are things I think my heart, I would like to say, and God will be the judge of this. I would like to say that maybe my heart was in the right place. It's you guys to judge, you know. It's you guys to tell me, you know, what's in the heart. I think if I was to do some of the things again, one of the things that I would not do is big church, mega church. That's one. Two, I would push much more discipleship and go slow on program and be much bigger on process. And then another thing that I'll do is be very intentional on growing one leader at a time, as not mass market.
One of the things I was saying earlier, Gowi, as we're talking, is you're one, maybe guys might not know this, including guys who come to your church, but you're one person who, you're not afraid to dive into controversial issues. Like you can have any, I feel I can have, and from the moment I met you, you know, you are very relatable and you can talk about anything and everything and not feel judged. And if there's one thing that probably I'd like to encourage, especially for us as a community of believers today, is we need to stop putting barriers. And when you say confessions of a modern day Pharisee, it's like we have experienced the faith and the love of God, but once we become Christians, we forget where we once were.
Absolutely.
Where God found us, how lost we were. And now we expect when people come into our spaces, or when we engage with people who are not in the faith, and we see them behaving the way that they are behaving, you know, whether someone is caught up in promiscuity, you know, whether I'm saying or whatever life that's messed up that guys are caught up in, we want them to become good to come to us. And if that was how God treated us, man, none of us would have ever made it. None of us would be standing here. And I want to say two things, if you allow me, in our conversations. One is we need to be in the spaces where people are, so that we can do life with them in the messy places where they are. Like Jesus and the Samaritan
It's called marketplace engagement.
Yeah, like Jesus with the Samaritan woman. You get. And the other thing is, go with the generation that's here with us today. The one scripture that keeps coming to my mind, Jesus Christ said, I have other sheep that are not part of this fold.
They need to be found.
That other sheep does not talk like we talk.
Nope.
That other sheep does not dress like we dress.
Nope.
They're so radically different from us that if we are not aware of that fact, of how radically different these guys are from us, we will completely miss out on this journey.
So I'm glad the way you've put that, and I think there has to be one of the things I'm also learning about, the stage I've learned is not to be defined by my accomplishments, but to be defined by my failures and my struggles.
Wow, that's good.
Because that is what makes you you.
Yeah.
We're defined a lot by our accomplishments. Yeah. You know, when you hear Gowi Odera, you'll say, "Oh, Gowi, Pastor Gowi."
Yeah.
I'm like, that's my accomplishments. All right? But you do not know what my challenges and my struggles are.
Yeah.
You see Manu Chandaria. You're like, oh, that business mogul and all that.
Yeah.
But you don't know Manu Chandaria's struggle to where he is.
Failure.
This is a man who's an industrialist and has done business in Kenya.
So he's done many right things.
And he's done many wrong things.
Many wrong things.
I think there are many more wrong things he's done.
Yeah.
But have made him the man that is celebrated as a captain in industry. We do.
Yeah.
And so being able to do that and embrace that. And I can tell you, my marriage journey has taught me so much because, dude, man.
We're from Mars, man. Sorry.
I say there are a couple of things. My brother told me this many years ago.
Yeah.
He said, there are two things that are going to test you if you want to grow as a believer. Marriage and parenting. Now, there are people who the Lord has not called them to those.
Yeah.
And I do understand.
Yeah.
But if you want to grow in your walk with the Lord, get married. If you want to grow and to become a disciple of Jesus Christ, parent. Because you'll know.
It'll teach you practical lessons.
Teach you practical lessons of what it is. Yeah. And I think those are the things that I want to now begin to embrace. My failures and my struggles. Because those are the things that make me. And I think that's what I want to move forward from. Learning from my failures and my challenges and moving there.
What are some of those key things that you've picked up from marriage?
Now, it's very interesting you say that. There are seasons that we go on in marriage, okay? And I know Mureithi Wanjao says this for Mavuno Church. There are a couple of seasons. He says there's the season, he calls them, I think the 3 Ds or 4 Ds or something. There's the dream stage, the honeymoon stage, where everything is honky-dory and nice and all rosy.
Yeah.
And then when that fades away, there's a stage of drama where you're always in conflict because that dream has died. You're always putting your best foot forward when you're trying to win over this person. But now they're real person. It's not sustainable. So that drama stage is there, okay? And then there is the discovery stage that he says.
Yeah.
The discovery stage is when the drama subsides and you now know how to be able to deal with conflict.
Yeah.
Or so you think. There's a discovery stage. And the discovery stage is now, I'm not going to change anything about you. You're not going to change anything about me.
Yeah.
So let's do that. And then there's the dance stage. And the dance stage is where you start experiencing more oneness.
You're in rhythm, you're in sync.
You're in rhythm, you're in sync, you're complementing.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm not sure life is about those
4 Ds.
4 Ds. I think those Ds interchange, and I'm going to add another D. And there's a D called disillusionment. And the disillusionment stage is between drama and discovery. And that one is when you've recognized there's so much drama, all right? And there's also that part of discovery where you're asking yourself, is this it? Okay?
Yeah.
And for many of us men, this is where many of us bail out.
That's where we crumble.
That's where we crumble. That disillusionment stage where you're beginning to say, I have chosen this person, and I'm like, it's not working.
This can't be it.
This can't be it. And you start looking, they say the grass is greener, on the other, But
you can say that other chick is always flyer.
And it's not even a lady, another chick. It's even another life.
Yeah.
Another lifestyle.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
You understand? But what you don't know is the water bill for that, for keeping that lawn green.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's a disillusionment stage that we all have to go through. But that is for even our life's journey. But in the church, we don't talk about that disillusion place. And I won't say we talk. I don't think we wrestle with that thing. And I don't think we are honest about our wrestling with that thing.
Yeah.
What does scripture say about those? How do we deal with our disillusionment and then move on to the next stage? But again, it's cycles, all right? You've been married for how long now?
It's going to be 15 years.
It's going to be 15 years,
Yeah.
all right? Now, you could say you've experienced dance, that oneness already, but you haven't experienced a lot of it because there's a lot for you to discover.
More. Yeah.
All right? Yeah. And then you have also experienced your, that time when you and Debs were dating, when there was all rosy. You can even experience it now.
Yeah.
Okay? And there's also times when you still have your drama stages.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? But I would say they come at different levels at where you are at. And so when you ask me about marriage, it's just being able to recognize where I failed in those stages and those cycles.
Yeah.
What did I do right? What did I do wrong? How have I scarred my wife? Okay?
Yeah.
And what can I undo if I can? So what can I undo? If I cannot undo what I've done, how can I be a better man? How can I be a better husband? Okay?
Yeah.
And that being a better husband is not today. I am not going to snap at my wife. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
All right? What is going to happen is, just say, I'm not going to snap at my wife and say, count to 10, Gowi.
Yeah.
Before you say anything, just count to 10.
Yeah.
I said, today, how many times have you counted to 10? When you want to be able to react. And so today you just do that. And tomorrow you just do that. And it's just 1% increments, 1% increments. Over time, all right, if you come back to your spouse and say, hey, you'll say, no, I've noticed you haven't snapped at me in a while.
Yeah. Wow.
But you have learned those things in itself. Yeah. That's a simple thing. I don't want to do it, but I think those are things I've learned.
Yeah.
In my ministry, I think the things that I am learning and in my leadership journey, bro, man, there are so many things, and I don't think we have enough time in this.
We can always have more conversations on this. One of the things,
I don't know if I've answered your question about what I've learned in my marriage.
It's good, man. I mean, we didn't have to get into the nitty-gritties. We normally tell our kids how to process sometimes, and even for us as adults, we need to do this. There's that red light, yellow, the traffic lights.
It's actually called amber.
Amber, yeah, yes. That's it.
Yes.
That's it, amber.
Red, amber, and green. Then green, yes.
So what we say is, before you snap, before you react, stop first. Process it. So you stop yourself. You process it. That's amber. And then you proceed. Because once you've processed it, then by the time you're proceeding, you have made you'll say things differently. So you don't scar someone. Or you don't do something silly that's going to have consequences.
Yes, there's what you call reaction and then response.
Yes.
So do you react or you respond? Yeah. React is impulsive. Response, you've
thought it through.
Process kidogo.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if we were to practice that in our relationships and even in our place of work, and in situations, we'll always respond differently. Challenge yetu inakuwaga ni kuwa sisi react to.
Yeah.
We're always reacting. But if we pause for a minute and you just say, okay, this has happened to me. Why? So as you're asking yourself that question, you might find yourself that you are also on the wrong somewhere. So by the time I'm giving you a response, there's kindness and there's probably grace with it.
Yeah.
Unaona, but lakini sisi shida yetu ni kuwa si ulipuka tu. And I've failed at that thing many times.
Yeah, me too.
Many times, even in my marriage.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, I think I need to have a session on communication. My wife says you're in communication, but you're the worst at communicating. No matter how clear I try to paint a picture, I'm like, man, it's always fuzzy for her.
You know what I'm learning also about? We talk about communication. I'm learning this with my 7-year-old boy. I'm trying to teach him toilet etiquette. If you're living in community, one of the things you do is you lift up the toilet seat and you make sure you pee right inside there.
Yeah.
And I tell him, make sure your pee is making noise. You hear that? Okay, for a Jama, that is important.
That's important, yeah.
Yeah? All right? You make sure you hear.
It's going in the right place.
Yeah, you know it's going in the right place. Okay? And then make sure, once once you finish, you shake well and all that. And then you put the toilet seat down and you put the toilet seat cover down and you flush and then you wash your hands.
I'm still learning that one, bro. For putting the toilet seat
What? The crrr or the putting the toilet seat on? Because when you're living with other people who will use that toilet, so I'm trying to teach him to ensure that other people who will use this toilet after you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Dude, man, I sound like I'm repeating to this kid. I'm like, when is this guy going to learn? I'm like keeping on telling him, I'm like keeping on telling him.
It's such a good life lesson, man.
Keeping on telling him. And, I'm like, should I start praying about this?
Pray fast.
This boy, like, dude, are you doing this? And I'm like, that is also me, bro. There's some lessons that I'm just finding hard to learn.
Yeah.
I'm just finding hard. And one day, my son has just finished, going there, and I know I come in just after him, and I hear the water in the cistern running, and I notice the toilet seat is down, and all that, and I look around, there's no water on the ground. I'm like,
you say there's no water on the ground.
This kid he's
gotten it.
He's getting it.
Yeah.
But then another day, the toilet seat is up. You see everything he's sprinkled down there. I'm like, wow, we're back to it.
Did you watch that movie by Eddie Murphy, Daddy Daycare?
Yes.
Where he goes and they pee on the, on the ceiling.
On the ceiling. So how did it get there? So those are some of the lessons I'm beginning to learn.
Yeah.
That some things just need to be done day in, day out.
Yeah.
To that point that it becomes a habit, then it becomes you.
Yeah. And that's how God deals with us, Gowi. First, God is not in a short race with us. It's a marathon.
Yep.
And he will tell you, this is how I want you to do things. This is how I want you to do things. This is how I want you to do things. And he is patient, man. And he's long-suffering.
But there are also places where I think God just stalls the process.
Yes.
So it sounds like you're mark timing for so long. I suggest that is a point of view he wants you to learn.
Yes. Yes.
He wants you to become.
Yes.
And then move that barrier for you to now be.
Absolutely. And and I was just trying to say, the same lesson that what you're trying to teach your son, for him to learn how to use the toilet, how to use it, etiquette, even in the washroom.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's with life. And God is patient with us, and he wants us to do that. Whether he stops you in your tracks, he wants you to be patient, he wants you to learn, he wants you to change at that point. Because at the end of the day, we're in the process of being transformed. And transformation doesn't take an instant.
Mose, I thought I need to say this before we leave. And it's what I really want men to begin to understand. Is learn the lessons early. Fail as often as you can. Early.
Yeah.
Because when you reach where I'm at now, man, the failings
are more expensive.
Yeah. You bring many more people down. Okay? And at this age, life, they're not as forgiving. There's not much grace.
Yeah.
You find, let me give you an example. This Jama, who's the president of the Spanish
Football Federation. Yeah.
In his exuberance, okay? All right? I was so happy, celebrating. He puts this medal on this soccer champion, and he just smacks a big smooch on her.
Oh, man.
All right? Totally violating all her privacy and her personal space and all that, If he did that when he was a 22-year-old, I think we'd forgive him.
Yeah. Challenge is right now, he should know better.
You understand?
Yeah.
I think if he was a 25-year-old, he'd just get a smack, a slap on the wrist. But now he's being told, resign. He's being blacklisted by FIFA. This is a guy who for so many years has won. He's a guy who has ambitions on being the president of UEFA. Now, I don't think it's going to go any far.
And any of the boys who are thinking this guy is a challenge to us, now he's giving them ammunition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's more unforgiving the older you get.
Yeah.
So learn those things.
Good.
And then 2 is that life is more unfair to the man.
Wow. You think?
There are more expectations about the man. More expectations. We are expected to do this. We're expected to provide. But we are not, when we do it, we are not celebrated. And let me give you an example, bro. Father's Day. Do you know how our families struggle to celebrate us?
Man, every time we do a show and we tell guys it's Father's Day, send a message to your dad and I want to thank my mom. My dad is not around, as in, yeah.
So I'll not tell you which hospital this is, but it's a hospital in this city of Nairobi. That their visiting hours end at a certain time. But in the male ward, they don't tell people to leave.
Wow.
You don't see the attendants come to say, time is over, you guys go. Okay?
Wow.
We see that in wards for women and all that.
Yeah.
And how I knew this was a colleague of mine, their child was in the hospital, in the male ward. So he's not a kid anymore. He's now a teenager. So he was there. And so she was wondering, why are you guys not sending us out? So she asked, the nurses there, say, men are not visited.
Wow.
Men are not visited in hospital. So they encourage, they say, you come and all this. So you don't see many visitors visiting men in a hospital. And if you see men, they're not even visited by their families.
Why is that? As in, you're going to open another conversation. Have we?
So I'm just trying to tell you how it is, all right? So we have been vilified. We have been, and I get it, man. Many of us guys have screwed up.
Yeah.
Okay. But if it's a man's world, there is a responsibility to make the world a better place. So for the many men who are trying to do it right, it's just going to be harder. It's just going to be harder. You are expected to provide.
Yeah.
And how many times are you told thank you?
Bro, your job is to provide.
Your job is to provide.
Yeah, you've done your duty.
Yes.
Why should we say thank you for?
But we are always telling our mom, thank you for raising us up. Thank you for this thing. Thank you for this thing. You are the thing. We treat our mom.
Yeah.
And this is the best example, all right? We now who, figured fourth floor and all that.
Yeah.
When it's time, when it's, you hear people say, we'll buy Mave aka washing machine. When you start getting money, we'll buy a TV, Mave wants to go and visit her sister in Mombasa. For those who can afford, we'll make sure we do it. And then when it's time for dad, you'll just send dad aka five sock, aka G.
Wow. Such an imbalance.
So the question is, was dad doing his job? Yes. Did he provide for us? Yes. Did he know how to love us, to nurture us? Maybe not. But our actions seem much more harsh.
Yeah.
To unpack this, I don't think we have time. Dude, if you have another chance of me coming in, these are some things I want us to be able to unpack. But I just want to be able to say, especially to the men, the younger men who are watching this particular thing, I hope they can watch to this far in this podcast. The thing here is, just if you're going to screw up, okay, or mess up or fail, do it now.
Do it now.
Because the older you grow, the older you become, life becomes more and more unforgiving, especially for men.
I definitely want to have more conversations with you because you also go into the space of, we talked about leadership, and I know that you're passionate about leadership. You've been into politics, how that was for you.
That's another story.
Another story, man. About your life as a youth pastor. But Gowi, man, it's been real.
Thank you very much.
No, man, this is so good, man. It also feels like I was born with you because we haven't sat down for like a year now.
It's almost a year since we guys sat down and talked. And our kids haven't. You know, my son continues to remember the trampoline and the swing.
You need to bring him back, man.
He keeps on saying Kimathi's house.
Oh, you better make it happen, man.
Or DJ Mo's. So when he sees things, he's like, is that like DJ Mo's? I mean, when we listen to when we're streaming Kubamba online, it's like, so which DJ did that? And for him, the biggest DJ is you, man.
Yeah, keep it that way, man. Let me tell you one thing. I've just remembered this, Gowi, and I think it's important, Bana. So one time, Gowi calls me. He's like, Mose, we need to meet. You know, every time you tell a Jama that, if Jennifer tells you, Bana, I'd like to talk.
Dude, man. You're like, what have I done wrong?
You start processing, man.
Screwed up, man.
Yeah, you start processing it, man. You're like, oh, shucks.
Yeah, you're like, shucks.
What did I not do in the morning? Yeah. Did I fail to do something? Did I miss out on a date?
Yeah.
Did we have an anniversary?
Is it an anniversary?
Yes. You start, it's hard. So you told me, Mose, we need to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And we planned to meet at Java Galleria.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh, yes. I remember that
one morning, man.
Yeah.
And I sat down with you like, man, Mose, I think we're drifting apart.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Hey, you guy, man. You told me we don't bond like we used to. You don't know what's happening in my life. Do you remember?
I remember that conversation.
I'm really glad you did that, man. I'm glad you called me out.
Mm-hmm.
Because that does not happen with many people. But I'm glad that you called me and you said, we're not the same Jamas that we were.
Mm-hmm. And the older we become, the more pressing and demanding things of things. And if we're not touching base, if we're not connecting, if we don't go into sharpen, we'll drift. And then I'll only know you when it's in crisis.
Bro, the only other time you're coming is when you're coming for a funeral. Or to say, man, this Jama he was a good guy. Or this Jama was terrible.
Yeah.
And again, some of my most valuable lessons are things that I've picked up with you from when we're in the trenches and just being able to do life together. And you did my wedding, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was an honor and a privilege.
Dude, as in, I could not have anyone else do it.
Thank you, man. That was an honor and
a privilege. It was
a
no-brainer for me, actually.
Yeah. You just didn't get me a
skirt.
It's a kilt.
They call them. Yes. Kenyans call them a skirt.
You didn't get me a kilt, man. I just felt out of place, but nevertheless, it's all good.
We have these coasters that says, calling a kilt a skirt will get you killed. But thank you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming for the podcast today, and deeply appreciate it.
I've look forward to this from your first one.
Dude.
Look forward and when I'm on podcasts like this, I made it to Moses' podcast. I made it, man. I have made it.
And make sure you look out for Gowi's podcast, man. Kahawana Gowi. It's such it's good vibes. And where is it available? Tell guys, man.
I'm mainly on YouTube. Mm-hmm. You find the shorts and stuff going up there.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be starting our new season coming out in October, early November. Mm-hmm. But let's see that.
Please go for it, man. Yes. Keep pushing for it, man.
Yes.
I celebrate you, bro.
Thank you, bro.
And I like the lesson you've given us, man. If you're going to fail quick.
And fail early.
And learn fast.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. Because ahead, it's unforgiving.
Yeah. Au sema kufanya kosa si makosa.
Yeah.
Kurudia kosa ndio makosa. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's been real, G.
God bless you, man.
Bless up, man.
Yeah.